use it or lose it. If you do not use a muscle for a very long time, it atrophies. What do I mean? If you do not use a muscle for quite a long time, it becomes smaller and weaker. The human body is quite interesting. If you put an increased demand onto the body, it will adapt to that stimulus. That's why you find when you do an exercise, for instance, a pull-up, muscles are going to become bigger and are going to become stronger. That way, your pull-ups are going to become easier. But if you take a very long time without performing pull-ups, by a very long time, I don't mean 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. I mean, if you just stop doing pull-ups for a long time, you're going to notice that your muscles are going to decrease in size. You're going to become weaker. And of course, when you become weaker, pull-ups get way harder. When you put an increased demand on your body and you create what we call hypertrophy, which is an increased demand on your body or muscle, it will have to adapt by becoming stronger and bigger. So equally, atrophy is where you stop. There's basically no demand onto the muscle. So the body, just the way it adjusted to an increased demand, if there is no demand, that means there's no use for the muscle that you build and the strength that you build. Meaning your body and muscle, basically your body is going to adapt to the lower demand that you're placing on it. That way, your muscles are going to reverse. They are going to become smaller. They are going to become weaker. That is why it is very important. I cannot underscore the importance of consistency. If you keep on pounding the muscle, if you keep on grinding, of course, while getting in your rest days, having a good nutrition, trust me, you're going to get bigger and stronger muscles. Of course, this idea came to me in this video. You can see I was struggling with pull-ups. I took quite a very long time off pull-ups. They became way harder. But of course, when we get the time, we need to pound. You see, muscle atrophy is reversible. Now, for the example of pull-ups, when you stop doing pull-ups, you need to get back at doing pull-ups. Of course, you will not start from where you stopped from when you used to perform pull-ups. You need to take baby steps, perfect the movement, but of course, due to muscle memory, it won't take you a very long time to get back to where you were before. Now that I'm back to the lab and I want to get better and stronger at pull-ups, here are some strategies that I've put into consideration. I saw somewhere that if you want to get stronger at pull-ups, you need to first pre-exhaust these muscles that are not primarily targeted in the pull-up. You see, once you perform a pull-up, your lats are involved. You're going to involve your arms to a certain extent. Some people have advised us to pre-exhaust these small secondary muscles. For example, your arms. You remember when you're hitting pull-ups, your arms are not the main or the primary targeted muscle. Your back is actually the primary targeted muscle. But however, when you first pre-exhaust your arms before you do pull-ups, of course, when you're performing the pull-up, it is not that your arms are going to get turned off completely. You see, your arms are going to keep working. So if they're already exhausted, you're opening up your arms to a potential injury. And you see, once you pre-exhaust a muscle, you're going to form very bad habits. What do I mean? Of course, you have a way you perform a pull-up, which is really efficient. I'm going to equate this to when you get an injury. Of course, when you get an injury, your body is going to overcompensate, it is going to get another way of trying to get the movement done. And when you do this over and over again, you're going to find that your movement pattern is going to change over a long period of time. And once you form a very bad habit, neural patterns are created, and that is the movement you're going to be acquainted with. And when you do that movement inefficiently, trust me, changing that habit is going to take you quite some time. Others have advised that when you're doing, before you do pull ups, do some other back movement and put your pull ups last. This one is not really, to me, I feel, yeah, if you look at it from the angle of get a strong back and you become better at pull ups, I see it makes some sort of sense. But the downside to that is by the time you perform the pull ups, your back is already exhausted. When your back is exhausted, it means there are only so many pull ups you're going to perform. How are you going to get better at a movement if you do not perform it time and again? You see, to get better at pull-ups, we need volume. We need that practice. We need to get better at the movement. We need to practice that movement time and again. And of course, if you're really tired, if your back is tired, you're going to start using momentum to get the job done. I think this only works for your ego to say you can still crank out pull-ups when you're still tired, but at the end of the day, to me, I feel like this is flawed. Another strategy I've seen is to try incorporating dead hangs. If, for example, your maximum number of pull-ups you can perform in a given set is let me give you five. Five is your maximum number of pull-ups you can perform. Do 5 pull-ups, and before you jump off the bar, make sure you hang for as long as possible before you let go of the bar. You can even do it at the start. You first do your dead hangs, and when you feel you cannot hold on to anymore, crank out the 5 pull-ups, then hold on as long as you can before letting go of the bar. You can even switch it up a little bit and do a dead hang in between each and every rep. You perform a rep. But this goes in hand with having to slow down the repetition. You see, once you slow down the repetition, you're increasing the time under tension. Remember, earlier we said a strong muscle, a bigger muscle, is going to be stronger. It is going to make the movement a little bit easier. So when you slow down the movement, you're increasing the time under tension. And for a muscle to build, the longer the time under tension, the bigger and stronger the muscle is going to get. That's why it is very good to incorporate into your workouts poses at the top, in the middle, or at the low bottom, which is a dead hang. This increases the time under tension, but this is going to be the cutting factor in each and every strategy. Each and every strategy to increase your pull-up is going to be aimed at increasing the time under tension in a given movement. So time under tension is a friend to you. Do not, unless you're a calisthenics competitor, you're in a competition, There's no point in rushing the movement unless you want to massage your ego. Of course, once in a while, you switch things up a little bit. I don't know, I do not agree with what they call muscle confusion. But of course, if you want to beat a plateau, you need to switch things up. If you normally do your repetitions slow, get a day where you're doing fast repetitions. But when I say uh, incorporate faster repetitions into your workout, I do not mean that you should compromise your form. Just because you're doing a movement a little bit faster, it does not mean that you need to compromise your form to get it done. Do it faster, but still efficiently, and make sure your form is still on point. Regardless of the number of pull ups you do, make sure each and every repetition is as identical as possible. What do I mean by that? When you do your first pull up, you're still strong. Make sure your form is on point. Even your second repetition should be identical to the first one. In fact, some proponents of some fitness influencers advise us that, in fact, your last repetition should be far better than your first repetition. Maintain the form, do not compromise on the form. Put your ego aside if you want to become better at pull ups. And do not forget that you need to rest. Do not forget that you need to get in your nutritions. And back to my earlier point of becoming stronger, you can also add weight to your repetitions. If you do the same thing over and over again, of course, your body is going to adjust to that level of intensity that you keep on applying. So you need to increase the intensity time and again. This intensity can be increased in many ways. You can add weight, you can increase the number of repetitions you're doing per second. You can also uh, reduce the rest periods in between the sets. You can also make it a point to supersets. A superset means you move on from one exercise to another without taking time off in between the set. The only time you're going to take in a set is when you're getting ready or when you're moving from one movement to another movement. This way, you're going to increase your aerobic endurance. And of course, once in a while, you can test your body. You see how many repetitions you can get done with a minimal rest in a specific period of time. You can say 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever. Or you can challenge yourself. There are so many challenges online. We see people are doing over 1,000 repetitions in less than 1 hour. Once in a while, try to time yourself. See how many repetitions you can get done in a period of 1 hour. But while you're doing that, bear in mind your level of fitness. Yes, you can push the envelope, but we don't want you to push it to a point that you put yourself at a risk of getting injuries. I would advise you further to keep on changing grips on the pull up. Do not do just one grip way. What you can do is you can do narrow, you can do wider, you can do extra wide on the pull up, you can do pronated, you can do supinated, but keep on changing things so that you do not get muscle overuse. When you change your grips, you're hitting your back from many different angles. That way, you're going to hit each and every muscle fiber in your back. And when you hit each and every muscle fiber in your back. You strengthen even these weak muscles, and that compounded, you're going to have a very strong back. And when you have a very strong back, trust me, pull-ups are going to be a walkover. But keep in mind, each and every pull-up can be made harder. You see, if you're just doing a chin over the bar pull-ups, you can make it a point to bring your chest to touch your bar. If that becomes easier, you touch your abs. If that becomes easier, you do high pulls where you're touching the bar on your waist. You keep on doing that. Eventually, you're going to start doing a muscle up. And of course, overall, to become better at pull-ups, like I mentioned earlier, you need to become strong. So if you become strong, by strong I mean we look at all the muscles which are involved in the pull-up, beat the arms, beat your shoulders. If you strengthen each and every component, each and every muscle which is going to be involved, which is going to take, which plays a part in a pull-up. Let us say your grip. If you work on having a strong grip, if you work on having strong forearms, if you work on having strong arms and strong shoulders, you're going to become better at the pull-up. You know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, I would say. If I'm to summarize everything I've said in the video, it is going to take you a lot of hard work, a lot of smart work to get better at pull-ups. You see, once a level becomes easier, you do not stick to that level. You need to increase the level of difficulty. Look at it as a video game. You start easier, take baby steps, but once you master that baby step, then you can start running. Once you can run, then you can fly. Basically, that is all I've said in this video. If you're not hardworking, trust me, you're not going to attain your full potential. If you want to become good, you're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to endure a lot of suffering. But the bottom line is, if you put in the work, you're going to see the results. Garbage in, garbage out. Good work in, you're going to see good results. But remember, your diet has to be on point. Remember, if you're overweight, you need to first cut some weight, then start off with assisted pull-ups. Because the heavier you become, the harder the pull-ups get. So if you're really overweight, you're going to be at a very big disadvantage. Why? You know you have to pull a lot of weight over the bar. And when you have to pull a lot of weight, you put yourself at a risk of getting injured. You're going to have to work harder than a less a person who weighs less than you do. So basically, lose some weight, do some cardio, run, do whatever it takes to lose weight. Once you lose weight, the pull-ups are going to become easier. But of course, if you can do 5 pull-ups and you lose weight, trust me, the numbers you're going to do on the pull-ups are going to skyrocket. Trust me, because the load you're going to have to carry on the pull-ups is lower. You've become lighter. The lighter you are, the easier the reps and the more pull-ups you can do. That's why normally when thin people are starting their pull-ups journey, they can do relatively more reps than these people who are are slightly overweight compared to them, because their body is a little bit lighter and they can do very many repetitions. From my point of view, I've always been lighter. I've always been able to crank out pull ups. I've never failed to do at least a single pull up. But what I know for sure, whenever I increase the weight on pull ups, whenever I gain weight, whenever I'm bulking, trust me, pull ups become way, way harder. The times you take time off the workout, when you come back and you've been eating, you haven't been doing any physical activity, you've gained some weight, trust me, pull ups are brutal. So I know from experience, if you cut weight, you're going to become better at pull up. Keep on pushing. Thank you for
God
watching till
bless
the
you
end. I love you guys. See you in the next
abundantly.
video.